With less than a week away until the fresh season of Splatoon 3 starts, we're going to be looking at all the information that we know about the fresh season so far. Sadly, we didn't get a trailer to break down, but I'm going to be breaking down and analyzing all the images and tweets that the Splatoon Twitter accounts posted throughout the month of February. So let's dive in. The first thing we got was some information on some new shopkeepers, mainly just the Inkopolis shopkeepers, since the Inkopolis DLC is also going to be coming with the fresh season. And the first shopkeepers we get to talk about are Jalonzo and Fred Crumbs. Jalonzo runs the clothing store in Inkopolis, and then Fred Crumbs runs the shoe store. We know that Crushy-san doesn't run it because, he's out on a cycling trip or something. If you have the NSO app, you'll know that there's this event called Wander Crust, and every single season it gets updated to where you can earn a new piece of gear that is related to Crushy-san. So Fred Crumbs runs the shoe shop in Inkopolis. And then the next tweet on Valentine's Day was about Spike, and it looks like we'll have to be using our Super Sea Snails to reroll with Spike, just like with merch, and that makes sense just to keep the continuity between the game system and how earning things and using things work, so that does make sense that we don't use coins like we did in Splatoon 1. Next thing they tweeted was talking about Callie Marie and how they performed during Splatfest in Inkopolis. They might be able to host the news. We're not sure yet. They didn't talk about it. There is one line in the tweet that says, "Don't know them from the Inkopolis news," so I'm not really sure about that. But it's great to see Callie and Marie again outside of their story mode outfits. And then probably the biggest news drop we got on February 16th was like the official kind of like reveal for the fresh season, which comes with Kraken. That was the first thing that was released, so they talked about Kraken, and it's been reworked a little bit from its Splatoon 1 version. It is significantly larger than the Splatoon 1 version. The jump shot now takes 2 hits instead of 1 hit. You're still fully invincible just like in Splatoon 1. You're slower and bigger like I mentioned, but now you can also use squid rolls and squid surges, which also makes mobility really good on Kraken Royale. And now you also have a new special charge attack by holding the ZR button, which is really neat. So I think Kraken Royale is definitely a really good special in Splatoon 3 and is going to be really healthy for the game as is. And then they talked about the first new weapon kits that we're getting in Splatoon 3. Those are the Crack-On Roller and the 96 Galdeco. Kraken Roller has Squid Beacon, Kraken Royale, 96 with Splash Wall, Kraken Royale. And I think these are okay kits. Obviously, the Roller with Beacon is a weird situational niche that might be useful if you want to run Roller, which has really good paint and really good map presence. And then you want the Beacons if you want to run that with your team. And then Kraken Royale, I think, works pretty well with the Splat Roller, just because Splat Roller will kind of get close already, and then the Kraken will just get in closer and provide more aggressive support. And I think it's a little weaker on 96 Deco, but I think it's still really good for 96 because 96 kind of struggles with kill time. So Kraken Royale will be really good for that, but I don't think the kit itself synergizes well because it's Splash Wall Kraken. Splash Wall is a very defensive and support sub, while Kraken Royale is a very aggressive special, so I don't think those synergize well, but I think on their own they work really well for 96, so we'll just have to see how that plays out in Splatoon 3. And then we got some new information on the Super Chump, which is the new special that we saw on that magazine with the original post. Super Chump is kind of like missiles, where it launches these little, they look like gumball machines almost, but they suction to the ground, and they act as a fake super jump, which is why it's called Super Chump, because it's a bait super jump, which I think is a really unique special, and I think it's really good balance-wise for how aggressive the specials are in Splatoon 3, and it just makes it to where missiles aren't as aggressive anymore, and they aren't as prominent in Splatoon 3 because of Super Chump, I feel like. Unless they start giving missiles to shooters, I think Super Chump is going to be a really good special. And speaking of shooters and which weapons it's on, it's going to be on the NZAP 89, which I think is really good. So that's kind of a callback to Splatoon 2 kit with Autobomb missiles. which was a really good kit. Obviously, it got outclassed once the Kenza Splatter Shot was released, but I think this will be a really good kit, obviously, because Autobomb, I think, works pretty well on an N-Zap, and then Super Chump is just kind of a weaker version of missiles, but is a more balanced version of missiles, which works better. And then Super Chump is also on the Clash Blaster Neo, and what's weird is that the North American tweet doesn't mention its sub-weapon, but the Japanese one does, and it says that it has Curling Bomb. So this is obviously just like its Splatoon 2 kit, and like I talked about the N-Zap, where it had Autobomb missiles. In Splatoon 2, it has Autobomb Super Chump. Clash Blaster had Curling Bomb missiles in Splatoon 2, Curling Bomb Super Chump in Splatoon 3, but I think it's going to be outclassed by its vanilla kit and other Super Chump weapons that might be coming to the game. So I don't think Clash Blaster Neo will see as much use as it did in Splatoon 2, just because, you know, it doesn't have missiles, and missiles was really spammable in Splatoon 2. And then they tweeted out this image that has some of the new gear that's coming back. We've got the Bobble Hat, which I know a lot of people are excited for. It's finally coming back. We've got the night vision scopes, the gas mask, and a couple of other nice returning piece of gear that I think people are looking forward to. And then also it shows off some new items and stickers that we'll be getting in the catalog, like this guitar, this basketball, and this lacrosse stick. Those are all in the catalog. And just some new options to show off what you like inside of your locker. And then something that's really big is that now every single store will hold 9 items at once, which is really cool. And I think in the past it might have been 7, but not sure. I'll have to fact check that, but 9 I think is really good because that just gives us more options at one time instead of however many it was beforehand. And then they talked about how Zekko and Firefin are now the same brand in Splatoon 3, which just goes to show that Splatoon is no stranger to corporate municipalities and businesses taking over other businesses, which is kind of funny. And I think that's something that I think they could expand more on, like brands taking over other brands or something like that, which would be really fun. But then it just kind of shows off some of the gear that Z plus F is going to be the new brand is having, and they look like other pieces of gear that Zekko and Firefin had in the past, but now obviously they've been combined with the new logo, and then just new branding, which I think is really fun. And then we got the catalog, so we have a full look at the catalog. If you want to take a look at that, you can just head over to Twitter where that was posted, and a lot of really fun gear. Obviously, all the new emotes that we're getting, new banners and whatnot, which is really fun. But the emote I'm most excited about is the Reppin' Inkopolis emote. So we're going to be getting all those victory animations from Splatoon 1 back in the game, which is going to be amazing. Can't wait to be using that one on my weapons. And I'm really excited to see if they change them slightly for the Octolinks and what they're going to do with the new weapons as well. That, you know, weren't in Splatoon 1, like dualies, Brellas, and then obviously Splatons and Stringers. Those all were not in Splatoon 1, so it's going to be really unique to see what they do for those victory animations. I hope there's something different, but still really fun. And then we've got the Zine F Splat Charger with Splash Wall and Triple Ink Strike. Now this is very clearly just like the Firefin Splat Charger in Splatoon 2 with Splash Wall, Suction Bomb Launcher, and I think it's going to be an instant top tier unless it's a nerf. Because of how strong Triple Ink Strike is right now with its incredible object damage, it's super strong. And then Splat Charger really benefits from a Splash Wall, which is really good for a Charger. You know, the defensive position that you can throw with a Splash Wall, and then now you just have protected pressure and nobody else can attack you. Like if you place it right in front of you, you're not gonna get shot from the bottom unless you're on a grade, of course. And now your pressure is essentially just 100% protected, and it's on the Charger weapon, and you don't have to have like a 52 gal throw at a Splash Wall in front of you to protect you, or have a ink vacuum protect you, something like that. But that is going to be ridiculous. Now we've got some new information on Salmon Run stuff that'll be starting in the fresh season, starting with Extra Work. Now, Extra Work is just like normal Salmon Run, except now you play 5 waves instead of 3. So I think this is going to be really unique, obviously in terms of now you play more waves, but it's also kind of like a ranked system in a way. And at the end of each season, you get a trophy depending on how many eggs you collected the most in one round. So kind of like how Big Run worked, with at the end of Big Run, depending on how many eggs you collected, you got a different colored statue, the different colored Kozuna statue. You got the green one if you got like the bare minimum or whatever it was, the silver, and then the gold one, which was really unique. And we're going to be seeing that same thing in extra work, but now you're going to get a sticker depending on where you were and how many eggs you collected in extra work. So I think this is going to be really good for overfishers at Salmon Run. Those are people who just like try and get the most possible eggs in a game of Salmon Run as possible. And then we're also getting the Splatoon 2 Salmon Run slop suits returning, as well as some Salmon Run exclusive gear that you can buy with scales. So I'm super excited for that because I know that I use some of the Salmon Run exclusive gear for sure. And then no surprise, we've got Big Run coming back for this season, and the new King Salmon is called Ouroboros. Now, Ouroboros is just like a flying snake is what it looks like. And it's going to be a really interesting boss in terms of, just kind of like flies. So how are we going to be able to hit it with our main weapon? And I think that's going to be like a downside to Ouroboros unless it has less health than Kohozuna does. Because with Kohozuna, you could just like shoot it with high damaging weapons, weapons that have really fast DPS. And obviously the golden eggs just do an absurd amount of damage. So either Ouroboros has to have like less health or something, or I don't think a lot of these extra waves are going to get cleared just because it flies a whole lot. But I think it's still going to be fun, and it's going to happen, it looks like right at the beginning of the fresh season from March 3rd to March 5th. On Inkblot Art Academy is where Big Run is happening, so super excited for this and cannot wait. And then they talked about the new stage that we saw in the original Direct, and this stage is called Umami Ruins. Now, Umami Ruins looks like a pretty fun stage. It's got a nice open mid area, looks like. It's kind of like a Wahoo world in a way, with this kind of like smaller spawn area, but then it kind of like expands to this circular mid area. But I think what makes this better than Wahoo world is just the amount of cover that's in mid compared to Wahoo world. And then it doesn't have any special gimmicks. It looks like there's an ink rail off to the left side underneath this grate in spawn. We've got a grate on the right side of spawn as well. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of protection in spawn, aside from like a couple of spots where you can hide behind if you're trying to, get a pick as a charger or something. But mid looks really good considering how big it is, so I think this is just going to be a really nice map, and I think the open mid makes up for the small spawn. And I think Umami Ruins is going to be a really fun stage with its layout, and just the aesthetics of the map are really nice. And then we got some new weapon kits, most notably L3D and Rapid Blaster Deco. Now here's the problem with both of these. They got terrible specials. L3D got Burst Bomb, which is really good for L3D considering how weak it pains, so I think Burst Bomb is just really good for it. But it got Ultra Stamp, the worst special in Splatoon 3 right now, maybe aside from Reef Slider. It doesn't have a protective hitbox in the front. It's really hard to control sometimes. It's just really weak right now with the lack of protection that it has from opponents shooting at you, which is why I don't think L3D is going to see any use unless we get that special buffed. Same thing with Rapid Deco. Rapid Deco's Torpedo, which is one of the best subs that I could get. As we know from Crapid in Splatoon 2, the Torpedo combos were amazing, but it has Inkjet, which was its Deco kit in Splatoon 2. Problem with Inkjet is that it's also a really weak special right now. Just because of crab meta, it can easily be shot down in an instant. There's not a whole lot of protection for an Inkjet, so I think unless they buff Inkjet, whether it's how long Inkjet is out, the damage it does, how far the shots travel, maybe it has armor or something, maybe it can fly higher in the air, I don't know. Whatever it is, it just needs to be buffed in order for Rapid Pro to be good. Ultra Stamp also needs to be buffed for L3D to be good. So I think until the specials get buffed, these kits are going to be really weak. And then something that is really unique is that we're getting lobby codes. Now what this does is you can set a code, something like they promoted in the tweet called Turf War Heroes, and when you enter a lobby using this code, you'll join anybody who has typed in that code. So anybody else who's typed in Turf War Heroes, you'll join their lobby and play with them. So this will make pairing up with your friends in like series or something much easier, because we can't play series with friends, and I really want to play series with friends because maybe my friends, we're all really good and we play really well together, and we could easily do a 5-0 sweep on a series. which I'd be really excited to do, but I don't like playing with randos in series because you can get some of the best teammates in the world going to 5-0 or get some of the worst and get swept by losing matches. So I think this would be really good for playing in that regards. My only question would be if it's on private battles. If it's not on private battles, I don't think this will have a lot of good use in the competitive scene, which I'm really involved in as a professional player. You know, not a super top level professional player, but this won't be useful, I don't think, for me, unless it's with private battles, in which case I don't have to friend every single person I'm supposed to be playing, you know, a scrim against or a match against in a tournament or whatever. I can just be like, guys, here's the lobby code, you can type it in, you know, it would just make it so much easier for private battles to be able to do this, but if it's not on private battles, I don't think it'll see much use. And then another thing that's starting with the new update is that Shiver Fry Big Man will mention when their team has won a 10x, 100x, or triple 3x battle. So I really hope they bring back, you know, the photos that were on the big screen in Splatoon 2 when a team won a 10x, 100x, or 3xx battle. It would show, you know, them, and you can also, like, view that battle. They're all posing or whatever, stuff like that. And I hope that we could also, you know, see those teams on their flying contraptions that they have at the opening of Splatfest. Because I know you can take photos up there with whichever team you last played with in photo mode, or do like a recon mode, something like that. I don't know exactly how it works, but if those teams could just be up there when they win, I think that'd be really neat and something, you know, just a nice quality of life change for the game. And then Manta Maria, we got that dropped. Obviously, we knew it was going to be in the game when Kraken was announced, but now we get a nice look at it. And it looks like nothing has changed too much, aside from an ink rail outside of the right side of spawn, making it faster to get out of there. But it looks like they haven't changed anything in terms of, you know, the left side of spawn. That's still pretty open and undefended. They haven't added any flank routes on the left side, because, you know, you can just kind of fall down there. It isn't a good flank route. So I think Manta Maria is going to be like a B tier stage map to play on in Splatoon 3, just because of the little changes that they've done. It looks like they've lowered the area on the right side a little bit, but maybe not by much. And then right in the middle, they lowered how far you can swim up on that center pillar. It looks like there's a cap, and I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly or not, but I think you could just kind of like swim really high up in the Splatoon 2 version. So I don't think, unless they add like a flank route or something, I don't think this map is going to be very good. And this is just the turf war layout, so I don't know about the other modes if they changed at all. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see until the fresh season starts, of course. And along with Manta Maria, we got new kits, those being the Neo Splash-O-Matic and the Custom Jet Sculpture. Now, Neo Splash-O-Matic has Suction Bomb and Triple Ink Strike. Now, it's weird that they would put Triple Ink Strike on another shooter weapon because they just gave it to Splattershot in the chill season. And I don't think Neo Splash is going to see a lot of use unless Suction Bomb gets buffed, because Splat Bomb is the better bomb right now. It's better to poke, and the only time you might see a splash, you know, the Neo Splash being played would be in tower control, where Suction Bomb can stick to tower, but I think T-Tech works just fine with poking Splat Bombs on the tower if you aim them well enough, and then Triple Ink Strike is just really good. So it's weird that they gave it to another shooter weapon, because this is kind of like the same situation that happened with NZAP89 and Kenza Splattershot in Splatoon 2, where they both had missiles, but it just came down to which bomb was better. So I think Neo Splash is not going to see a lot of use unless Suction Bomb gets buffed, or if Triple Ink Strike gets nerfed and Splash can just paint faster for that. I'm not sure though, but I don't think Neo Splash is going to see a lot of use, but I think people are going to pick it up anyways. Just because, oh, it's Splash-O-Matic and it has Triple Ink Strike. Now I can run a funny triple splash comp where two of my splash are Vanilla Splash, and I've got two crab tanks. We've got a Neo Splash as well that's running Triple Ink Strike, and we have a Flex backline or something like that. I just don't think this weapon's going to be healthy for the competitive scene at all. Maybe for casual scene, but again, casual scene is very different from competitive scene. And then poor Custom Jet Squelcher with Toxic Mist and Ink Storm. Something that I saw is that the Splatoon North American team hates it so much that they didn't even, you know, spell it right. It's Poison Mist. They said Poison Mist in the tweet, which is so funny to me, instead of Toxic Mist. But the only case that, you know, Jet Sculpture benefits from Poison Mist is using it as a support for the team, where you see, you know, an opponent you know, fighting one of your teammates, you can throw a Toxic Mist onto that opponent, and then your teammate can kill them easier. And then I think Ink Storm is all right for it, just because you can paint for it fast enough. But it won't be good because of how long it takes for Ink Storm, you know, to wear out. That takes 8 seconds, and that's 8 seconds you're not charging special as a Jet Squelcher, which is kind of impactful for the game. You know, since it's a passive special that, you know, you just kind of throw and then you move on and go back to painting, go back to killing, painting the objective or whatever it might be. I don't think it's going to be a lot of use on Jet Squelcher. So kind of a sad kit for Jet Squelcher, but we'll see how that holds up in competitive, I guess. And then we got the final 2 kits, those being Tri-Slosher Nuevo and Neo Sploosh-O-Matic. Now, Tri-Slosher Nuevo has Fizzy Bomb, which is probably one of the best bombs for sloshers. It's not only a really good chip damage tool, because if you hit a direct with the Fizzy Bomb, it's 1 slosher and they're dead, 2 indirects and a slosher and they're dead. So it's really good for Tri-Slosher. And it also just doubles as a movement tool on maps, because Tri-Slosher struggles right now to get in by long-range weapons, so throwing a Fizzy Bomb, and if you hit the direct on an opponent, you can swim through that trail it just created, and then they're dead, which is really good for it. And then it also has Tactical, which is a really weird special for it, but I think it can be used beneficially, and I think we could see some possible double Tactical comps that people have been talking about since game's release with NZAP and a Tri-Slosher Nuevo, because Nuevo can get in pretty far using Fizzy Bombs and drop a Tacticooler, where probably most of your Slayers skirmishers are going to be in the heat of the fight. If you put Tactical on a backline, it's not as beneficial, because then everybody would have to drop back to the backline, you know, essentially losing ground, and then you get the buff from Tacticooler, and that's not beneficial on backlines. But with Tri-Slosher, it obviously just benefits itself really well, because the movement speed is really good, and rushing in for getting kills is not as big of a deal now, because you'll most likely end up trading, and then you're just instantly respawning because of Tactical. So I think that's really good on Tri-Slosher. And then Neo Sploosh is going to have the same problem as Neo Sploosh did in Splatoon 2. If you want to see more on this, you can go watch Squid School's video talking about these 2 kits, where he goes over why Tri-Slosher might be really good, a secret top tier, and why Neo Sploosh is going to be a problem. And I just want to briefly go over it. He essentially talked about how in Splatoon 2, Neo Sploosh has Beacon and Whale in Splatoon 3, and then Splatoon 2 had Beacon missiles. And what people did is they just painted for missiles in an irrelevant spot of the map. Beacon was just so that they could jump back to those irrelevant spots every time it got painted over. It's kind of what he talked about, and it created kind of like a brain dead way of playing the game. So once you got into higher level areas of play, that style of play becomes totally irrelevant, because you're not doing your job. And Sploosh already struggles to get kills anyways, which is why this type of play style is just really weak. And I think we're going to see the same thing in Splatoon 3, because it has Whale, and Whale's a really spammable special with a weapon that paints well. If you want to see more, again, go watch Squid School's video on it. It was super insightful, and I definitely suggest it if you're considering picking up either Tri-Slosher Nuevo or Neo Sploosh-O-Matic. It's a really good video. In fact, you should probably watch all of his on these new kits. Squid School's just a really great resource, so I totally recommend him. Definitely go watch that video. We also now have access to the jukebox. Now, it was in the game beforehand. Its full model was stored below the lobby in previous updates, but now we're going to be able to change the music. And I don't know if it's just going to be in the lobby, or if we can change the music during a battle. I don't know if we can like do that for private battles as well. I'm not really sure, but it looks like we can pick any battle song, any story mode song, any city song, any song that's in the game and play that in the lobby. I'm not sure if we'll be able to do, you know, pick how often battle song plays in a battle like Smash Bros or something like that, where you can change the frequency of how often a song plays. Or if, you know, you select a song and then it just plays the next battle that you're in. Not sure how that's going to work. But, you know, just really excited for Jukebox, just being able to pick music in the lobby and just kind of like set it like that, which will be funny. We also got online table turf. So now you can play table turf with other people online, which is something that we've been waiting for since the very beginning of the game. So I'm super excited for this and can't wait for this. I think this will make me play table turf a little bit more, because then I can play with my friends. Although I probably won't be any good at it, to be honest. And then obviously all the new table turf cards. And there was some on that magazine that they released right at the beginning. And I mentioned in my previous video talking about how the one on the far right that we saw in the commercial could be like a gold dynamo roller. I was wrong. My editor was right, actually, that it was the crack-on roller that we saw there. It was just kind of like obscured, which is kind of weird because it made it look, the layout for the actual weapon looked a little bit bigger. But yeah, so I think this is going to be a really neat set of table turf cards. These are really fun table turf cards as well, the designs, obviously. So just super excited for this season and everything that's going to be in store. Well, that's all the information that we got on the Splatoon 3 fresh season. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Helps out a ton. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/McBraggins, for live streams, typically every weekend and any other days I have off from school. So you can catch me live there, playing Splatoon mainly and talking about other stuff, just having a good time. You can join my Discord channel in the description. Kind of small right now, but you can be the change. You can help grow the community on Discord. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.